And how did you cope with that uncertainty compared to how you cope with uncertainty now?
I for most of that time, I believed in God in a way that don't anymore, and so I put a lot of my hope into. I prayed all the time. So that was my way of coping. And my mom thought that she could solve everything through food and nutrition and supplements, and that's I think it's part of the reason she never got she it took so long for her to get better, was that she thought that she could do it the natural way. So, for example, she wouldn't let them go in and do exploratory surgery. She she just tried to like get her diet right. And so I grew up with the belief that God was there directing things, and that everything would be okay in the end, even if I didn't feel like it was okay right now. And then B, I could prevent something similar from happening to me. I could prevent getting sick like she did if I just ate the right things, and she could probably get better if she just ate the right things. So those two things, God and nutrition, were were the way that I coped with everything. Were the way that my whole family coped with it.
And so how is that different now? How do you relate to uncertainty now?
Now I just lie in bed for hours and hours and worry because I do not believe, like I used to, that there's a God that's going to make everything okay. And I don't believe that. I mean, I know that you can eat nutritiously, and that food has something, food has a role to play in our health, but I do not believe that a tumor on a pancreas can be resolved through supplements. So I think that's part of why I have so much fear, is that I don't have any. I used to have so many ways that I thought that I was in control, and now I know that I don't, that I'm not in control. And how do I deal with uncertainty? I just feel fear.
And you're laughing as you say that, but it sounds so painful. What
It
else are you
is.
feeling?
It is painful. I am used to it though. So it's been a couple it's almost, yeah, it's been a decade and a half. So I'm kind of used to it. And I just oscillate between being real sick of this fear and just being so used to it.
Do you see any other way of coping with the uncertainty that would make it so that you didn't feel fear all the time?
I don't. But I do hear what you say, and what Ken said, and what a bunch of OCD experts say in and anxiety in general, about desensitizing and giving, that I give way too much power to my thoughts, and that there's a way to change that. Um, so like logically, I think that I can live with uncertainty logically, because I think that nobody can control what's going on, and to a large extent, in the world and their lives and their health, and we just can't prevent bad things from happening. I believe that logically. So how to stop being afraid of that is, I don't know, I just think I have to desensitize and practice, all those things that Ken was saying about, um, you know, pretending like I want Kate to get sick.
It's okay. Yeah, and actually to back it up from there, though, that is the content, but just to stay on this point about uncertainty for a minute. So it sounds like logically you do understand that we're all living with uncertainty all the time, and no one can control, like there's some things that we can control and we should take responsibility for those things, but there's a lot that we can't control and we have to let go of that. So you can understand that logically. Does it make sense to you that uncertainty is a feeling and it's just a feeling? So feelings, what you resist persists. So the reason you continue to have certain feelings is because of the way you resist against them.
Absolutely. Yes, I understand that uncertainty is a feeling, and there are plenty of ways that uncertainty doesn't bother me in life. Like I can I don't know what's going to happen 10 years from now in a bunch of different areas of my life or other people's lives, and that doesn't bother me. So it's only only certain uncertainty that bothers me. And so I know that it is those things that I have in the past tried to control, that I am that in my present life and still trying to resist. um just that dread, and like Ken said, I'm on the defense. I don't want my family to get sick. I don't want myself to get sick, and so I am resisting it in a lot of different ways.
Can you be more specific about that?
um
What do you resist?
yeah, and I so first of all, I wanted to just really quick answer one of his questions from the beginning, is that he was wondering if I felt a nauseating fear when my mom was sick. And what would happen was her blood sugar would get extremely, extremely low, and she would just act very crazy and maybe start to, need medical intervention to not die. Absolutely, I felt a nauseous stomach. So I do think that part of my, I do think I have emetophobia. I know that I have this fear that my son will die. I know that I have trauma, but I also definitely do have emetophobia, and it's probably from that feeling of panic and nausea that I had so many times. I probably associated that with nausea, with panic and fear. Um, so for all my life, I've been doing, as you mentioned, safety behaviors. I used to stock my cupboards. I used to make sure my cupboards were always stocked with peppermint tea and saltines, just in case I ever felt nauseous. I don't leave the house without Tums, gum, water, like Ken said. Um, at one point, I got my hand on some Zofran and carried that around for a while. That really made me feel safe. And then it expired. Dramamine. Although I definitely just do get car sick, and that's not pleasant or convenient. So I could see eventually myself getting rid of these safety behaviors and healing and going through exposures. But there's also some stuff that I want to keep. Like, I want to keep Dramamine so I don't throw up every time I go into the mountains. But yeah, I definitely have been resisting it. And so of course it persists. Absolutely.